You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Road Transfer, Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about this Colin Cowherd situation. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit I've always been a pretty sizable Cowherd fan. No doubt, certainly an influence. Look, I listened to Cowherd way back in the day when he was relegated to like ESPN News and ESPNU, the simulcast of his ESPN show. And for years, he's been one of the best. But the last couple of years, it does feel like something has been missing. Now, Cowherd's got a lot of other things going on out there, businesses, this, that, and the third. And I think sometimes it's caused some real issues. And the other day, and I actually saw this, I came home, I turned on the show, I was listening, and next thing I know, he's talking about quarterbacks that will never win the Super Bowl. And he names Dwayne Haskins. Now, the issue with him having named Dwayne Haskins is that Dwayne Haskins has been dead for 16 months. Now, that's not a great look from what's supposed to be at least one of the top three guys in the business over the last decade or 12 or 15 years. It's a terrible look. I like Cowherd. Again, I think he's got too much going on, and I just feel like the job's not that important to him anymore. As you can expect, he took a lot of backlash. Now, I think a lot of the backlash was fake. I do. And I wasn't just overtly offended by it, but it certainly does show a level of laziness. If I'm going to talk about something involving the NFL, I try to do a good amount of research before I ever hit record. Okay, but I also consume a lot of different sources as well, right? Especially when it comes to trying to break down players, this, that, and the other. So let's get to this, because step in Bengals legend, who is also on WFAN out of New York. It's really has become my go-to morning show until I lost CBS Sports Network. Come on, Sling. Really? Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. Boomer Esiason is really damn good on there. And frankly, he's very honest, he's very frank, and he pulls no punches. Well, he has come out and he has absolutely destroyed Colin Cowherd over what is nothing more than a true lack of studying, applying your craft. I mean, how are you involved in the sports world and you just not realize, not have it in your mind? And I understand we did Dwayne Haskins. It's been a story for us. We've made 4, 5, 6 videos over that situation because it has evolved over time for various reasons. But the point is, how do you not remember that one of the best Ohio State quarterbacks ever is now dead? I mean, that was a major sports story, and you just forgot? It's really, really weird to me that you could make that kind of a boneheaded mistake. And it looks bad. It is a bad look. I'm not going to even act like it's not. Consider the case of Fox Sports talking head Colin Cowherd. This is the New York Post, who's taking heat for a segment from Tuesday's show when he included deceased quarterback Dwayne Haskins in a list of 20 quarterbacks who can't win a Super Bowl. No shit. Among those calling out Cowherd is WFAN's Boomer Esiason. Of course, Boomer, at least at minimum belongs in the Hall of Very Good. He will probably never make the Hall of Fame because he never actually won a ring, did go to a Super Bowl. And Boomer Esiason, growing up, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. There wasn't any confusion. Certainly one of the best Bengals quarterbacks ever, I think we can say, who addressed the issue Wednesday with Jerry Recco. Now, this is what Cowherd actually said right here.
And then the third category is 20 guys who are not getting to a Super Bowl and certainly not winning it. And that's everybody else. From Baker Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater, Dwayne Haskins, guys that are just not That it says can win Super Bowls. It's can't win Super Bowls. Okay, so 6 stars, 4 high-end starters, and 20 guys that can't win a Super Bowl.
Okay, so that was the Funhouse that tweeted that out, and yeah, as they point out, technically speaking, I mean, he's not winning a Super Bowl. Again, the man is deceased. He's no longer with us. Well, Boomer had some really colorful things to say about Cowherd. And look, Esiason is one of the most notorious hard workers in the media, especially for somebody that was a player, And, being in the media is Cowherd supposed to be his main gig these days. Now, he owns a wine business and all this other thing. Plus, he's got the volume. He's got his own podcasting network. So I get it. He's busy. But, man, this seems like it would be such normal knowledge at this point that Dwayne Haskins is no longer around. Not only that, but whoever created this graphic, your ass should be in a bind too, frankly. And if I was Cowherd, I ain't no telling. Because I wonder if he did not name these names off of looking at this graphic. I don't know. Quote, "You're not paying a guy that much money to be that stupid. I'm sorry, you're just not," Esiason said. Look, there are speculations out there that Cowherd makes at least 12 or 15 million bucks a year now. I mean, wow. Quote, "He mentions his name. It's one thing if it's on a graphic. That goes back to the people that are working behind the scenes. That shows a lack of dedication, I think. I think it's just laziness." Yeah, I mean, he should have known if he saw the graphic and said, well, guys, Dwayne Haskins is not going to make the Super Bowl because he's in fact dead. Recco talked about the possibility that Cowherd puts bad information out there on purpose to drum up attention for his show. I can't imagine. I can't imagine it. Look, in this business or whatever, there's gonna be a fraction of people out there that think you've got the worst takes in the history of worst takes, and that just is what it is. But this is something else. Quote, "You think that's the goal? We're going to make obvious errors." Esiason wasn't convinced and didn't budge. That shows a lack of professionalism. It shows a lack of dedication, and somebody lets something slip, the former Jets quarterback said. And they're led by a guy that doesn't seem to really care when he makes mistakes because he's made 100 of them. He's trying to be a legitimate sports talk show host, and he mentions a dead quarterback, question mark. Let's be real. We can't act like Colin is not a legitimate. You can't do it this long and be this successful and not be legit. I mean, he's legit, but you certainly look like you're not throwing your best fastball anymore either. That is not on purpose. That is just not knowing what you're talking about. I agree. The 24-year-old Haskins died on April 9th, 2022, when he was struck by a dump truck while walking along the South Florida highway. At the time, Haskins was getting ready for his second season with the Steelers. His NFL career began in 2019. The former Ohio State quarterback was drafted by Washington with the 15th overall pick in the first round by, of course, the artist formerly known as the Redskins. Haskins struggled in D.C., playing 16 games over 2 seasons, a 3-10 as a starter. Washington cut Haskins at the end of 2020. And it really is, sort of tragic when it comes to Dwayne because he was starting to flash a little bit. He was putting in the time. Mike Tomlin was being a very good influence on Dwayne Haskins. He was. And there was some talk that Haskins was getting his act together. I know there's some drama around what happened that night, and some have even suspected they might be foul play around it. We don't know. We just don't have all the facts, But, yeah, he was kind of starting to flash. Whether or not he'd ever, had a Geno Smith kind of resurgence, I don't know, because frankly, Geno Smith and Rich Gannon were complete outliers out there as far as backup quarterbacks that had a I'm 32 years old and older, and all of a sudden I'm starting for 7 years. That just generally doesn't happen. Not saying it couldn't have. We don't know that. Boomer's right. I mean, Cowherd's got producers and guys that work with him there across from his desk and all these different things going on, these checks and balances, and everybody missed this? Nobody said, hey, Dwayne Haskins is dead. Can we get him the hell off of the graphic and make sure Cowherd doesn't have that in his damn notes? Oh, and the other thing that Cowherd does is he'll name like 5, he's listing 5 reasons this is not going to happen. And when he's talking about them, he names one reason, number 2, and then the same reason again, he circles back at number 5. And because he said it again, he's got 5 reasons. No, that's technically 4 reasons, and one of them you just overemphasized twice, okay? Ryan Russillo has actually called out Cowherd for that too. Esiason's right. It's a horrible look. It really is. I also don't know that it merits, an extreme amount of outrage. But in this business, you better at least have slam dunks like that. You need slam dunks. And not saying a dead quarterback's name ought to be a slam dunk. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.